The cloth of Turin, an exceedingly disputed sacred artifact, has sparked intense controversies even within the Catholic Church. Gradually, doubts arose regarding its authenticity, with carbon dating examinations indicating an origin approximately 800 to 1,000 years after the era of Christ. Nonetheless, recent revelations have emerged, offering new insights into its legitimacy. Interestingly, a member of the initial examination team boldly asserted that the testing procedure was flawed, thereby questioning the reliability of the results. Adding to the intrigue, the raw data from these tests remained undisclosed to the public for an astonishing 27 years, fueling rumors of financial incentives provided to the involved laboratories, possibly to maintain the perception that the cloth of Turin is merely a product of the medieval period. This prompts us to ponder: could there be governmental entities with a vested interest in concealing the truths behind the cloth of Turin? Preserved meticulously since 1578, the cloth of Turin found its sanctuary in the royal chapel of the Cathedral of San Giovanni Battista. Its dimensions were awe-inspiring, stretching to a length of 4.3 meters and a width of 1.1 meters. However, what truly captivated observers were the faint, brownish images that seemed to adorn its surface. Upon gazing at the cloth, one would behold the ghostly impressions of a gaunt, sunken-eyed figure, a man standing at a height of 5 feet 7 inches. It was almost as if the cloth had borne witness to the final moments of a life, with one half of the fabric displaying the image of a body laid lengthwise, and the other half gracefully folding over to cover the entire front from face to feet. Yet that was not all. The images on the cloth were said to bear marks eerily reminiscent of the wounds inflicted during the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Thorn marks on the head suggested a crown of thorns had been painfully pressed upon it. Lacerations on the back seemed to recount a brutal flogging, while bruises on the shoulders hinted at the weight of a heavy burden carried. Most striking were the stains, believed to be blood, scattered across the cloth. These stains, it was whispered, were sacred reminders of the ultimate sacrifice made for humanity. Despite this, it is crucial to note that the Catholic Church has not taken an official stance on the authenticity of the relic, refraining from asserting that it is anything beyond an icon of Christian devotion. Nonetheless, the Church acknowledges that millions of pilgrims view it as a symbol representing the mystery of the passion and death of the Lord. Since the late 19th century, scholars have delved into the mysteries of the cloth, utilizing scientific methods to ascertain its authenticity. A significant observation arose in 1898 when experts noted that the sepia-tone images on the cloth bore a striking resemblance to photographic negatives rather than positive images. In 1988, the Vatican decided to definitively address the authenticity question by entrusting 3 laboratories in different countries with tiny samples of the cloth linen fabric, each no larger than a postage stamp, 4 carbon, 14 dating. Much to their collective astonishment, all 3 laboratories independently arrived at the same conclusion. The cloth had been woven between 1260 and 1390. However, the intriguing aspect remains. Despite the carbon dating results, scientists are unable to explain the image on the cloth. It displays a photographic negative of a body bearing wounds consistent with those that Christ would have had. While experts can confidently state that the cloth is not from the time of Christ, they remain unable to definitively explain what it truly represents. For over a century, scientists have diligently pursued the investigation of this sacred relic, yearning for a definitive answer. Yet, despite the employment of the most advanced scientific technology today, no one has managed to replicate the mysterious image it bears. However, technological advancements have revealed a gradual disclosure of fresh proof, reinforcing the argument for the Shroud of Turin's legitimacy. Initially, let's ponder the perspectives of Barry Schwartz, a member of the group that carried out the initial scrutiny of the shroud. He acted as the official cameraman for the Shroud of Turin research project. Their primary objective was to determine the process behind the formation of the image on the shroud. Not being an active Jew at that moment, he hesitated to join the team and questioned the authenticity of the shroud, presuming it to be merely a sophisticated painting. Nonetheless, during their thorough examination of the cloth, he stumbled upon one of the enduring puzzles of the image, which continues to captivate researchers today. He explained that they used a specialized tool designed for X-ray examination, capable of stretching the lights and darks of an image vertically into space in proportion to their density. Normally, this procedure would distort an image, but with the shroud, a natural, three-dimensional relief of a human figure became evident. This suggests a significant correlation between the image's density, its lights and darks, and the distance between the cloth and the body. He claimed that the only plausible explanation for this phenomenon is an interaction between the cloth and the body, ruling out the possibility of it being a mere projection, as photographs or artworks lack the same kind of information found in the shroud. Their initial quest for evidence of paint, pigments, or binders that could suggest the artificial creation of the image yielded no results. Instead, their thorough examination revealed that the image was made up of yellow, discolored fibers, and the darkness of specific areas was determined by the concentration of these fibers. Essentially, there was no evidence of any external substance or intervention that could account for the image's formation. Despite this discovery, it was the radiocarbon test conducted a decade after their examination that ultimately led to the conclusion that the shroud was not genuine. Nevertheless, Barry highlights the dubious aspect that it took a strenuous 27 years under the Freedom of Information Act to acquire the raw data from the British Museum, which supervised the 3 labs conducting the radiocarbon testing. Such a protracted delay in releasing the data is highly uncommon in scientific practice. Typically, scientists publish their work in journals and share the raw data, allowing other researchers to validate or expand upon their findings as a standard part of the scientific method. Once the raw data was finally obtained, it shed light on the reasons for the reluctance to release it. The data indicated that the sample taken from the shroud was inhomogeneous, meaning it was a strip cut from the cloth with one date at one end and another date hundreds of years later at the other end of the strip. Consequently, there was no specific point on the strip that could be definitively linked to the date of the entire cloth. Additionally, they did not take any control samples from other areas of the shroud, which is crucial for reliable radiocarbon dating. There is evidence in the corner where the sample was taken that shows the presence of interwoven cotton. This discovery contradicts Jewish law, known as the mixing of the kinds, which prohibits combining wool with cotton or cotton with linen. A burial shroud of someone of high stature is supposed to be made of pure linen, but the finding of cotton in the corner implies that a repair or reweaving was done in that area. Consequently, the radiocarbon dating was performed on a repaired corner of the shroud, making it impossible to obtain an accurate date for any other part of the cloth. Immediately after the results were leaked, before their official publication, claiming that the shroud was medieval, suspicions arose regarding the motivations behind the research. The British Museum, particularly the Oxford Laboratory, one of the 3 labs involved in examining the shroud, received a substantial sum of £1 million from anonymous donors with the specific intention of debunking the shroud. This raises the question, could there be influential groups with vested interests in denying the authenticity of the shroud? Hematology has also been utilized in the pursuit of proof, bolstering the genuineness of the textile. The bloodstains discovered on it were of type O/AB, an anomaly among the general populace but more prevalent among Jewish individuals. The blood displayed an incredibly vivid scarlet hue that resisted normal aging, suggesting unimaginable suffering endured by the individuals enveloped within the shroud. The bloodstains streaming down the arms provided definitive evidence of a brutal crucifixion, with the angle of the blood flow perfectly aligning with the motions of a crucifixion victim. Surprisingly, the bloodstains preceded the image on the shroud, indicating that the unique image-forming process occurred exactly 72 hours after the blood made contact with the cloth, leading to a remarkable transformation. Upon further examination, scientists unearthed a mixture of travertine aragonite and Jerusalem limestone in the soil found on the shroud, identical to the limestone found in Jesus' tombs in Jerusalem. This revelation raised intriguing possibilities. Additionally, the fabric contained various types of pollen, all originating exclusively from Palestine, with 3 types unique to Jerusalem, potentially linking it to the infamous crown of thorns. Moreover, the application of advanced wide-angle X-ray scattering allowed scientists to achieve more precise and reliable dating of the fabric. Physicists scrutinized the eyes of the man depicted on the shroud and detected faint traces of ancient coins used in Jewish burials during the 1st century, matching the coins used by Pontius Pilate during that era. Furthermore, The size of the shroud closely approximates an ancient unit of measurement, measured in cubits. Remarkably, a half-inch wide side strip on the shroud was stitched with a unique pattern exclusively used in Palestine during the 1st century, establishing a strong connection to the past. Over the centuries, artistic representations of the crucifixion typically depicted nails being driven through the palms. However, archaeological findings have emerged, indicating that the nails were actually driven through the wrists, aligning with what is depicted on the shroud. The punctures around the head also perfectly match the shape of thorns, remarkably consistent with the biblical narrative of the crown of thorns. Abrasions on the shoulders suggest the burden of carrying a heavy, rough object, possibly across blood-soaked soil, indicating moments of stumbling and falling. Wounds on the nose, potentially resulting from a fall or a beating, add another layer of authenticity to the shroud's narrative. Not to be overlooked, the side wound bears a striking resemblance to a half-inch wide elliptical wound, reminiscent of a Roman spear. The reverse image on the shroud reveals a remarkable separation of blood and clear blood serum, mirroring the phenomenon witnessed when a person dies from a wound. This eerie resemblance to the biblical accounts, as described in John's Gospel, adds to the enigmatic allure of the shroud. All these remarkable details converge to portray a solitary man and an extraordinary historical tale, the story of Jesus Christ. Concealed within the fabric, researchers have also unearthed remarkable discoveries, inscriptions that defy explanation. 3 distinct lines below and beside the chin reveal clear and precise writings. How did they decode these markings? By meticulously dividing the shroud's official photographs into countless squares and employing advanced visualization techniques to analyze their optical characteristics. Barbara Frail, a researcher from the Vatican, utilized computer-enhanced images of the shroud to decipher faintly written words in Greek, Latin, and Aramaic scattered across the cloth. According to her findings, the words include the name Jesus of Nazareth in Greek. She asserts that this finding dismisses the possibility of the text being of medieval origin because no Christian at that time, even a forger, would have mentioned Jesus without acknowledging his divinity. To do otherwise would risk being branded a heretic. In addition, she extracted the words from enhanced photos of the shroud and presented them to experts, who concurred that the writing style was typical of the Middle East in the 1st century, corresponding to the time of Jesus. And so, the question arises, how did the image appear on the fabric in the first place? Countless theories have been posited in an attempt to unravel the mystery behind its formation. In 2002, Raymond Rogers from the Los Alamos National Laboratory in New Mexico, a prominent figure in scientific testing of the shroud, argued that a simple chemical transformation could account for the image. He proposed that even moderate heat, perhaps around 40 degrees Celsius or 104 degrees Fahrenheit, a temperature that a deceased body could briefly attain if it experienced hyperthermia or dehydration, might be enough to discolor the sugary carbohydrate compounds on the surface of cotton fibers. Rogers insisted that it doesn't require a miracle. While this idea is reassuringly mundane, there is little evidence supporting it in this specific context. After all, it's not a common occurrence being observed on funeral shrouds. Another theory posits that the discoloration of the fibers resulted from a chemical reaction with a substance emitted from the body. In the early 20th century, French biologist Paul Vignon proposed that this substance might have been ammonia, generated from the breakdown of urea and sweat. However, this explanation falls short, as the image produced would be too blurry. In 1990, biophysicist John DeSalvo suggested an alternative. The substance could be lactic acid from sweat. This compound is known for producing dark, negative images like the Vollkringer images of plant leaves that are left between the pages of a book for an extended period, where substances exuded from the leaf react with paper fibers. However, one particular explanation stands out. A researcher named John Jackson concluded that vacuum UV radiation remains the sole plausible explanation for the formation of the image. To transform linen into a perfectly photographically sensitive material, light radiation is required, but it must be devoid of any accompanying heat radiation. To produce the image on the shroud, an astounding amount of approximately several billion watts of light radiation would be required, surpassing anything known from UV radiation sources today. If the accompanying heat energy were present, the cloth would have vaporized in an unimaginably brief span, less than 1/40th billionth of a second. Such a process would demand a magnitude of power greater than the total electrical energy generated by our entire planet combined. It becomes evident that only a miracle from the Almighty God could account for such a phenomenon. The Shroud of Turin, to some, may be disregarded as a forgery, but for millions of devout believers, it stands as an unparalleled symbol of the profound sacrifice made by Jesus to redeem humanity. It transcends mere fabric and becomes a timeless testament of faith, inspiring hearts and souls throughout the ages. The enduring mystery of the Shroud of Turin continues to captivate minds and hearts around the world. Despite centuries of study and analysis, the exact origins of the image and the fabric remain elusive. The shroud's enigmatic nature invites speculation and debate, fueling the imagination of believers and skeptics alike. For many, the shroud is more than a relic. It is a profound symbol of faith and a tangible connection to the life and suffering of Jesus Christ. Its intricate details and mysterious formation challenge the boundaries of scientific understanding, prompting us to contemplate the miraculous and the divine. Whether viewed as a miraculous artifact or an elaborate forgery, the Shroud of Turin remains a powerful testament to the enduring impact of the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus, continuing to inspire awe and wonder in those who encounter its compelling story. The Shroud story is not just one of scientific intrigue or religious devotion. It is also a narrative of human curiosity and the quest for understanding. Each new discovery and theory adds layers to its complex history, inviting us to reconsider our understanding of the past and the nature of faith. Beyond its religious significance, the Shroud serves as a reminder of the universal human experience of suffering and sacrifice. It prompts us to reflect on the profound mysteries of life, death, and what lies beyond. The image on the cloth, whether miraculous or not, speaks to our shared humanity and the enduring questions that transcend time and culture. As the debate over its authenticity continues, the Shroud of Turin remains a symbol of hope and inspiration for millions around the world. Its enduring presence challenges us to explore the intersection of faith and reason, inviting us to contemplate the mysteries of existence and the enduring power of belief. The enigmatic allure of the Shroud of Turin lies not only in its potential authenticity, but also in its ability to provoke deep introspection and contemplation. It serves as a bridge between the tangible and the divine, inviting believers and skeptics alike to ponder the mysteries of faith and science. For believers, the Shroud is a profound symbol of Jesus' sacrifice, a tangible link to the events of the crucifixion and a testament to the enduring power of the Christian faith. Its intricate details and mysterious origins inspire awe and reverence, reinforcing the belief in a higher power and the promise of redemption. At the same time, the Shroud challenges us to confront our understanding of truth and evidence. Its complex history of scientific scrutiny and debate forces us to grapple with the limitations of empirical knowledge and the boundaries of human understanding. It reminds us that some mysteries may never be fully explained, and that faith and reason can coexist in a delicate balance. Ultimately, whether viewed as a relic of profound spiritual significance or a fascinating historical artifact, the Shroud of Turin continues to captivate the hearts and minds of people around the world. Its enduring mystery invites us to delve deeper into the nature of belief, the complexities of the human experience, and the eternal quest for meaning and truth. What do you think of this? I trust you enjoyed our narrative. Until the subsequent one,